on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web, and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
Tonight, bond inquiry. Ministers Malik Samaravikrama and Kabir Hashim denies allegations of funding of the United National Party by members of the Perpetual Treasuries. Non-binding. Government says that they will decide whether or not to implement any recommendations by the special envoy from the United Nations currently in Sri Lanka. The Finnish connection. Sri Lanka to receive latest digitization technology from Finland as part of its deals reached during the Prime Minister's visit. No to family. Minister Faisal Mustafa says the culture of family politics should be changed.
I don't want the minister's wife or the daughter being in the Provincial Council.
And in international headlines, freedom declared. Catalonia's leader Charles Puigdemont declared the region's independence from Spain. Criticism follows. Well, good evening to all our viewers across Sri Lanka and around the world. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Our First at 9 coverage begins tonight with some breaking news. The Railway Control Room announced a short while ago that engine drivers and rail guards have launched a strike and all trains from Colombo Fort and Maradana are cancelled until further notice. The move led to a tense situation within the Colombo Fort railway station as passengers began to protest against the cancellation of trains. Once again, that story for you. Railway Control Room announced a short while ago that engine drivers and rail guards have launched a strike and all trains commencing from the Colombo Fort railway station and Maradana railway station are cancelled. As a result, the move led to a tense situation within the Colombo Fort railway station as passengers protest against the cancellation of these trains. We will keep a close watch and bring you the very latest on that as well. Let's move on to other local stories we have for you tonight. Ministers Malik Samaravikrama and Kabir Hashim testified before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the controversial bond issuance. They appeared before the Commission this morning following a notice issued by the Commission yesterday.
The chairman of the commission, Justice K.T. Chitrasiri, questioned Minister Malik Samaravikrama. Responding to questions, Minister Samaravikrama stated that the government had a monetary requirement of 15 billion rupees during the month of February in 2015 for several road development projects which were inadequately funded by the Rajapaksa regime. He added that officials of the central bank were informed of the requirement during the meeting held on the 26th of February 2015 and the auction scheduled for the 27th of February was not discussed. The chairman of the commission then asked if any company of the Perpetual Group, Arjun Aloysius or his father Geoffrey Aloysius gave monetary support to the United National Party. In response, the minister said that neither he as the chairman of the UNP nor the party received any such monetary assistance. Then it was the turn of General Secretary of the United National Party, Minister Kabir Hashim, to be questioned. During the questioning, the minister said the Secretary of the Road Development Authority informed him of a monetary requirement of approximately 18 billion rupees by way of letter during the February of 2015. He added that he went to the central bank on the 26th of February and informed that there is an immediate requirement of 15 billion rupees. He too reiterated that neither Perpetual Treasuries Limited nor a member of it funded the United National Party. In the meantime, Steve Samuel, the private secretary of Arjun Aloysius, was due to appear before the commission today. The attorney representing Steve Samuel told the commission that his client was admitted to the ICU of a private hospital this morning with chest pains. The commission informed the attorney that a report on his client's health should be produced tomorrow if he is unable to attend the commission. In addition, the files kept as AM and RK at Perpetual Treasuries Limited should also be handed over to the commission. Former ministers had told yesterday that Minister Malik Samaravikrama and I went to the President and begged to postpone this. I didn't even have time to prepare because I had to attend the cabinet meeting. I didn't ask for this to be postponed.
Issuing a special statement today, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said governments are not bound by the advice or recommendations of UN special envoys but can avail of the expert knowledge and experience of special envoys who are able to government as a resource. The ministry further emphasized that advice and expertise of special envoys can be obtained by countries in a manner that would benefit institutional capacity building, policy formulation and policy reforms, training needs and so forth as the government may consider necessary.
At the invitation of the government of Sri Lanka, the UN Special Rapporteur on the promotion of truth, justice, reparation and guarantees of non-recurrence, Pablo de Grief is currently on an official visit to the country. He will be in Sri Lanka until the 23rd of October. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said its attention is drawn to some media reports connected to this visit, which gives erroneous and misleading information. The statement went on to say that once de Grief presents his report to the Human Rights Council in September 2018, it is for the government of Sri Lanka to decide whether there is anything that the government considers beneficial to the people of Sri Lanka in his recommendations and whether the government wishes to draw on his knowledge, expertise and advice and consult him further in any manner. Meanwhile, UN Special Rapporteur Pablo de Grief met Governor of Eastern Province Rohit Bogullagama at the Governor's Secretariat today. They had agreed to maintain continued dialogue with UN agencies on the progress of the province in addressing post-conflict programs.
The Rapporteur was particularly keen to find out the issues relating in terms of the legacies the community may be still entertaining or being part of it, including the traumatic experiences the children may have had, and also regarding the widowers and the victim families in the province. I stated that the Eastern Province and the social issues concerning all three communities are being equally addressed. Provincial Council system also provides them independence in terms of their pursuits, and also we are now enshrining a greater degree of liberties, freedom, access and also equal opportunities to the communities in the Eastern Province.
The Colombo Fort magistrates today denied bail and further remanded former chairman of Litro Gas Lanka Limited, Shaila Munasinghe, and bank account holder J.C. Namuni until the 25th of October. Furthermore, the magistrate also granted permission for the Criminal Investigation Department to record statements of both Munasinghe and Namuni and arrest other potential suspects involved in the crime. Munasinghe and Namuni were arrested by the CID in connection to a transfer of $1.1 million from the Far Eastern Bank of Taiwan to a Sri Lankan bank account. Sri Lanka's state-owned LP gas supplier Litro Gas denies all allegations and stated that the company had no connection or knowledge of the alleged transactions. However, Taiwan law enforcement authorities have also launched an investigation into the incident. Meanwhile, Munasinghe was also removed from his post as chairman of Litro Gas Lanka Limited today as per orders of the Ministry of Public Enterprises Development. In other local stories, the Cabinet of Ministers gave their approval to make necessary amendments to the Inland Revenue Bill recommended by the Cabinet Subcommittee on the subject. The subcommittee recommendations to vest the power of recovering losses incurred to the state and officials of the ministry with the Secretary of the relevant ministry. The subcommittee also recommended to include 2 representatives from the state administration and engineering sectors in the Surcharge Appeal Committee, which is to be appointed to look into official culpable of assessed surcharges. Meanwhile, Cabinet co-spokesperson Ministers Gantha Karunathilake and Dr. Rajitha Senaratne responded to questions raised by media at the Cabinet media briefing held at the Department of Government Information today.
ඒකම් මට්ටමින් සිදුවෙන යම් යම් අක්‍රමිකතා පිළිබඳ විමර්ශනය කිරීම සඳහා කොමිසමට තියෙන බලය අඩුවීමක් නේද වෙන්නේ? නෑ බලය තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට පරීක්ෂා කරන්න.
They will have the power to investigate. One commission cannot look into everything. That delays all the decisions they should take today. How can a country run like this?
මේම කොහොමද රටක් ගෙනියන්නේ? ආණ්ඩුවට සම්බන්ධ ගෑස් සමාගමක සභාපතිවරයෙක් අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්ත මුදල් වංචාවක් යකේ. එයා ගෙනල්ලා සම්බන්ධක එකක් නෙවෙයිනේ.
He hasn't exactly taken this money. They're investigating money transfer to his bank account. Maybe a friend of the chairman might have asked him to allow the transfer of the money to his account because there was a problem in the friend's bank account. We don't know for sure whether he is involved in this. We couldn't ask him as he was arrested.
නෑ මෙයා සම්බන්ධ වුණාද කියලා දන්නෙත් නෑ මොකද එයාව අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්තාට පස්සේ අපිට අහගන්න විදියක් නෑනේ
මහා බැංකුවට පත් කරපු මේ ආණ්ඩුවලට කවුද මේව පත් කරන්නේ චෝදනාව එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ ආණ්ඩුවට එල්ල වෙන්නේ
ඔයලා බල්ලා ඉතින් පිට රටින් ගෙනල්ලා টොප් කියලානේ කිව්වේ
දැන් මේ එකක් නෙවෙයි දැන් කිහිපයක් නෙවෙයි
තාම දෙකයිනේ
ඒ දෙක කමක් නැද්ද කියන්නේ
කමක් නැත්තේ නෑ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි
සයිටම් ප්‍රශ්නේ හින්දා දැන් ඊයේත් විරුද්ධතාවයක් තිබ්බේ. ඒ ගැන ඔබතුමා මොනවද කතා බහ කරලවත් නැද්ද මේ සම්බන්ධව?
ඒකුත් ඒවා විසඳුම් කතා කරලා තියෙනවා.
I discussed this. Even the faculty heads told me that there are parties who want to solve the matter and there are parties who don't want to.
අකමැති කට්ටියකුත් ඉන්නවා.
Several members of the joint opposition today visited the 6 persons arrested last evening, including parliamentarian Nama Rajapaksa at the Hambantota prison. They were arrested in connection with the protest worked off last Friday in Hambantota. The arrested members of the joint opposition are remanded until the 16th of this month.
Parliamentarians Nama Rajapaksa, D.V. Chanaka, Prasanna Ranavira and Provincial Councillors Zupali Kodikara, Sampath Atukorala and former parliamentarian retired Major Attorney Ajit Prasanna arrived at the Hambantota police to give a statement on accusations of causing damages to public property and breaching a court order during the protest held on the 6th of October. After recording their statement, they were arrested and produced before the Hambantota magistrate Manjula Karunaratna, who remanded them until the 16th.
During the illegal and chaotic protest held on the 6th, they breached the court orders and damaged public property. They attacked police officers and obstructed their duty. 34 suspects are arrested and remanded up to now.
Our correspondent said ties were set on fire along the route when the arrested were being taken to prison last evening. In the meantime, several members of the joint opposition arrived at the Tangor prison this morning.
They say a damage of 135,000 rupees was caused to the iron grids by burning puppets on road. We believe people will realise the fact that they protested against selling national property. They have violated the right to conduct a peaceful protest. The protesters didn't do anything that was prohibited. We believe we could get this order changed soon.
In the meantime, opinions were expressed on the Hambantota issue during the cabinet media briefing as well.
හම්බන්තොට සිද්ධියේ SP දළුවත් අරස් කළා නෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ පරීක්ෂණ පොලිස් කොමිෂන් මගින් කරනවානේ.
ආණ්ඩුව හෝ හැමෝම කියන්නේ හැමදාම පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වනවා නමුත් කිසිම පරීක්ෂණයක ප්‍රතිඵලයක් නැහැ දැන්.
ඔව් හරි.
In other local stories, Minister of Provincial Council and Local Government Faisal Mustafa says that the legislation pertaining to the Provincial Council Election Amendment Act should focus on discouraging politicians from entering more than one family member to the government. He made these remarks at a meeting held with NGOs and elections monitoring bodies in Colombo today.
A meeting was held with NGOs, local and international monitoring bodies and government representatives to introduce a framework to encourage women representation in Parliament.
I want this legislation to be purposeful. I don't want the minister's wife or the daughter being in the provincial council or at the local government because we have a 22 million population. Some politicians can say, my daughter, my son, my wife was elected. But when you are a politician, you have great amount of resources at your disposal. So anybody close to you, you can put, and that person has the opportunity winning using your strength. So if anybody says, my family is also, it can be elected, I would ask them to think for a moment that when we have a 22 million population, we should diversify opportunity as well. More than one family member should not engage in even more than one tier of government. I want social service leaders, intellectuals, philanthropists, who the community demands that they should enter politics.
In other local stories, President Maithripala today said that all citizens should fulfill their prime responsibilities of committed to environmental conservation. He made these remarks speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the Vanaropa National Tree Planting Program held in Deltora, Kandy. The Vanaropa National Tree Planting Program was conducted under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena near the Kandithana Tang, Deltota in Kandy today. The program was implemented with the objective of increasing forest density up to 32% by 2018. Meanwhile, the President distributed fruit saplings to school children, symbolizing the program. A book on catchment area conservation was also presented to the President as well. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, who engaged in a two-day diplomatic visit to Finland, met with its Minister of Economic Affairs Mika Lintilä yesterday. The Finnish Minister of Economic Affairs ensured Finland's support in strengthening economic ties with Sri Lanka and expressed their desire to share their expertise on technology entrepreneurship with Sri Lanka.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the Finnish Economic Affairs Minister Mika Lintilä also spoke on digitalization between the two nations and stated an MOU towards this end will be signed in November. The Premier also visited the Confederation of Finnish Industries located in Helsinki, where its members emphasize its lineage towards investments and business opportunities in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also met with Finland's Minister of Defence, Jussi Niinisto, and discussed measures to ensure peace and free maritime circulation in the Indian Ocean region. In addition, Finland's government also declared its agreement to provide primary and concessionary loans to Sri Lanka for the advancement of current development projects. The Sri Lankan delegation also engaged in a tour of the Parliament of Finland.
The Government Medical Officers Association says the anti-Saitam struggle cannot be controlled by brutal attacks. Meanwhile, 4 individuals who sustained injuries during the protest yesterday are still receiving treatment at the National Hospital.
Anti-Saitam students' movement launched a protest against Saitam and police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse the protesters. 14 individuals were hospitalized after sustaining injuries during the protest. A spokesperson of the hospital said today that 4 of them are still being treated. A Politburo member of the Frontline Socialist Party is also among them. In the meantime, the JMOA and the Inter-University Students' Federation accused police for using tear gas and water cannons to disperse protesters.
If the officials think that it is possible to control the struggle by arresting and hospitalizing protesters, it is only a wish. If Minister Dr. Aditya Senaratne thinks of controlling the Medical Council by appointing a person who stood for Saitam as its chairman, it's merely another wish. The government attacked the public of the country. The students of medical faculties are boycotting lectures for months now. Didn't anyone in this government see this issue?
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back, everyone. In today's world, cancer has become a word synonymous with despair and inevitable death. The words breast cancer triggers more despair, especially among women, and it is an issue plagued with silence with stigma. In line with October being World Breast Cancer Awareness Month, First at 9 Sadhini Upeka takes a closer look at this global healthcare worry and at the silence that comes with it.
Affecting over 1.5 million women each year, breast cancer is the most frequent cancer among women, leading to the greatest number of cancer-related deaths. Amid a string of grim statistics, the World Health Organization states that 570,000 women died from breast cancer across the world in 2015 alone. In 2014, as reported by Sri Lanka's Health Ministry, 22 out of 100,000 women in Sri Lanka suffered from breast cancer. It is the disease responsible for the highest mortality among Sri Lankan women. Speaking to First at 9, consultant community physician of the National Cancer Control Programme, Dr. Naina Dialves, stated that the Ministry of Health has charted a rise in breast cancer cases during the past 20 to 25 years. While warning that breast cancer is not 100% preventable, she also detailed several risk factors, controlling which could help ward off the risk of breast cancer.
Usually being a female is the most important risk factor. Males can have breast cancers, but it's very low. And also getting old. Family history is an important factor. If the female's mother's side or the father's side is having a breast cancer or a ovarian cancer, they are having a chance of getting breast cancer. And also the obesity and not having children, not breastfeeding, also a factor. And also if the female exposed to more and more estrogen and progesterone hormone, they are getting the breast cancer more than the normal female. If female is starting their menstrual periods before the age of 12, or if their menstrual periods are going on until 55 years or more, then they are having a higher chance of getting breast cancer. And estrogen, progesterone containing drugs taking longer period of time without medical advice is also a factor for breast cancer development. So we have to think of our lifestyle related factors that we can avoid it.
She further elaborated on the importance of early detection, which is often a life or death matter.
Female should know what is normal for her, what is normal for her breast. So for that she should look and feel in regular basis. So if she detect any changes, she should get the medical advices. In Narahenpeta we are having a cancer early detection center run by the National Cancer Control Program. It's open all weekdays from 8 to 4. So anybody can come and get a screen at our center because there's no referral letter needed. In addition, all the MOH areas, they are conducting well women clinics. There you can get all the services like screening for breast cancer, cervical cancer. Throughout the island, about 940 well women clinics are conducting by the MOH. This is free of charge. And also the hospitals also conducting well women clinics, and there are surgical clinics and also breast clinics in some hospitals. Health Ministry is providing these services free of charge. Anybody can go and get checked.
Even with the availability of the best facilities, so many women remain afraid of speaking out and seeking medical advice. Is it stigma? Is it embarrassment? Or is it fear of being subjected to unsought attention? To discover the root of this fear, we spoke to Dr. Ranga Pereira of the Cancer Care Association.
There's a lot of stigma behind breast cancer because treatment for breast cancer is removal of the breast. So a lot of females are afraid to go to hospital because they will remove the breast as for treatment. But nowadays, if you detect early, there's no disfigurement. You can remove the tumor only without removing the breast. Don't keep hiding any problem. The best person to talk to is your family doctor. Early detection will save lives.
Well, we want to take you back to that control room announced a short while ago that engine drivers and rail guards have launched a strike and all trains from Colombo, Fort A and Maravana are cancelled until further notice. The move led to a tense situation within the Colombo Fort railway station as passengers began to protest against the cancellation of the trains. You are looking at the latest visuals we have from the Colombo Fort railway station where a tense situation occurred once passengers were notified of the sudden strike by the engine drivers and rail guards. We will keep a very close watch on this developing story and bring you the very latest as and when we can. Let's move on to business news now. Sri Lankan stocks were higher after the close today as gains in the banking, financial and insurance, power and energy and services sector led shares higher. At the close in Colombo, the CSE all share gained 0.55% to hit a new one-month high. Let's cross over to Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange for a detailed report.
Top 5 gainers of the day were Adam Investments, Central Investments and Finance, Malan Phipps, The Finance Company and Asia Capital, while the top 5 losers were Kelsey Development, Trade Finance and Investments, Amana Takaful, Serendip Hotels and eChanneling. Today's foreign purchases were 290.05 million rupees and foreign sales were 422.88 million rupees.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back on to international news. Catalonia's leader Charles Puigdemont yesterday declared the region's independence from Spain in his key speech at the parliament amid stern criticism by various parties, including the Spanish government as well as Catalan's opposition. According to the Catalan leader who unilaterally proclaimed independence, its effect would be suspended in order to arrive at negotiations on both national and international platforms.
I assume the mandate that Catalonia should become an independent state in the form of a republic. The government and myself, we propose the parliament suspend the effects of the declaration of independence to undertake talks in the coming weeks, without which it is impossible to reach an agreed solution. We strongly believe that the moment requires not only to allay the tensions, but above all to make a clear compromise to advance the demands made by Catalan people, taking into account the results of 1st of October.
Meanwhile, documents of independence declaration and proposal of negotiations were rejected by the Spanish government.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
On to sports now. Sri Lanka cricket team led by captain Dinesh Chandimal received praise from President Maithripala Sirisena and several former cricketers on the series win against Pakistan yesterday.
President Maithripala Sirisena congratulated the Sri Lanka team on its win against Pakistan via Twitter yesterday. The team was also hailed by former cricketers Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene on the victory, which promoted the Sri Lanka team to the 6th position in the ICC Test ranking. Meanwhile, Captain Dinesh Chandimal also expressed views on the win.
I am certainly happy to witness the talents of the players. What we needed was a serious win.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. Now, as usual, the central hills are set for milder weather with temperatures expected to be in the region of 21 degrees Celsius. In contrast, however, eastern and southeastern areas of the island will be much warmer with temperatures expected to vary between 27 to 31 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, a low pressure zone may prevail in the west and eastern regions of the island and could bring about thunder showers in Batticaloa, Trincomalee and Anuradhapura. Similarly is also likely in Kandy, Colombo and Galle as well. Now with that, let's take a look at your city by city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Derana 24/7. Thank you very much for joining us. And before we wrap things up for tonight, we'd like to take you to the Jami-ul-Alfa Mosque in Petta, known by most as the Red Mosque for its striking, vibrant appearance. Having been constructed in 1908, it is one of the oldest mosques in Colombo. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.